Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayana Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamutire Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. Reading from 6th Canto, Chapter 4, titled The Hamsagurya Prayers. The verse is number 4. So you could repeat after me. Shri Sukho Vacha Yada Prache Sada Putra Dasa Prachina Barhisa Ananta Samudrat Unmagno Dhradrusurgam Dhumirvratam. Somebody can repeat? Any Prabhuji? Magno Shri Sukha Vacha Yata Pracheta Saputra Dasa Prachena Barhisa Tamagna Sanmagna Any Matajis? Shri Sukha Vacha Yata Saketa Suputra Yata Prachina Barhisa Anta Samudra Unmagna Tadur Sukha Umedasa. Shri Sukha Vacha Yata Prache Saha Putra Tata Prachina Barhisa Anta Samudra Magna Tata Sruddha Durme Vrata. Word to word meaning and translation purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Shri Sukho Vacha. Sukadeva Goswami said, Yada, when, Pratesataha, the Prachetas, Putra, the sons, Dasa, 10, Prachina Barhisa, the king of Prachina Barhi, Anta Sumatrat, from within the ocean, Unmagna, emerged, Dadrusu, they saw, Gam, the entire planet, Drumehevratam, covered with trees. Translation. Sukadeva Goswami said, when the 10 sons of Prachina Bari emerged from the waters in which they were performing austerities, they saw the entire surface of the world was covered by trees. Purport. When King Prachinabari was performing Vedic rituals in which the killing of animals was recommended, Narada Muni, out of compassion, advised him to stop. Prachinabari understood Narada properly and then left the kingdom to perform austerities in the forest. His 10 sons, however, were performing austerities within water, and therefore there was no king to see the management of the world. When the 10 sons of Prachetas came out of the water, they saw that the earth was overrun with trees. When the government neglects agriculture, which is necessary for production of food, the land becomes covered with unnecessary trees. Of course, many trees are useful because they produce fruits and flowers, but many other trees are unnecessary. They could be used as fuel and the land cleared and used for agriculture. When the government is negligent, less grain is produced, as stated in the Bhagavad Gita, 18th chapter, 44th verse, Krishi Goraksha Vijnanam Vaishya Karma Swabhavajam. The proper engagements of Vaishyas according to their nature are to farm, to protect the cows. The duty of the government and the Kshatriyas is to see that the members of the third class, the Vaishyas, who are neither Brahmanas nor Kshatriyas, are thus properly engaged. Kshatriyas are meant to protect human beings, whereas Vaishyas are meant to protect useful animals, especially cows. Before I start the discussion on this verse, let me tell my prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjala Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Gurum Shri Udapada Kamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalitan Shri Vishakan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Jai Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Before I start anything, let me first say, everybody says it as a customary, but I must confess, I really do not have any qualifications to sit here and give the class. But the senior, my leader, His Grace Mathurapati Madhusudan Prabhu, has asked me to do the temple. All the senior devotees have given me this service. As a service, I am going to do this. So hence, I request each and every one of you to please bless me. Please pray for me so that I can somehow do this class and in future to take up this service nicely. Hare Krishna. So, this verse given to me is 6.4.4. When the 10 sons of Prachinabari emerged from waters in which they were performing austerities, they saw the entire surface of the world was covered with trees. So, I would like to break this entire session in 4 sections. The first section we will probably have a short recap, introduction, then we'll go into the main content and then conclude it. So, the 6th canto, we all have been hearing the episodes of Ajamila, In the beginning of 6th canto, Parikshit Maharaj asked Sukadeva Goswami how humanity can be saved from entering hellish planets. Sukadeva Goswami answered that only bhakti yoga or the chanting of the holy names it is possible. Sukadeva Goswami also gave example of Ajamila, how he got saved in the chapter the history of life of Ajamila. Then how he got delivered by the Vishnu Dutas. He got a second chance, went to Haridwar, did bhakti and finally went back home. We also heard very interesting section, Yamudutas and Yamaraj, the discussion between them. So that way, the first 3 chapters glorify the potency of the holy name and glorifies the whole process of bhakti yoga. So, these first 3 chapters, it was dealing with the questions of Parikshit Maharaj, how humanity can be saved, and in this 4th chapter, which is titled the Hamsaguya prayers offered to the Lord by Prajapati Daksha. So, all the senior Vaishnavas have been in the temple. I've been discussing first, second, third verse. The verse given to me is this 4th one. So, this Prabhupada starts the purport by saying, when King Prachinabari was performing Vedic rituals in which the killing of animals was recommended. So we'll see a little bit of background. Who is Prachinabari? So he comes from the dynasty of Prathu. One of the king Vijitsava was there. He had a lot of sons. One of the sons' name was Havidhana. His son was Barihi. He had a wonderful wife, very beautiful wife, Satadriti. It's mentioned that she was so beautiful that while doing the fire sacrifice, even Agnidev was got attracted to her. So, you all know that he was a king deep into Vedic rituals, always doing yagna, due to which he had allowed all the kusha grass all around the world. And in fact, he got this name Prachina because you need the kusha grass to arrange it pointing eastwards. So that's how he got the name Prachina Barihi. He was so attached to the yagna, in the sense, after completing one ritual, he would start another yagna. Same way he was continuously doing, and for yagna, you had to sacrifice animals. And that way he was doing a lot of sacrificing of animals, and due to which he had collected a lot of papa kritya, papa karma. So Narada Muni, always compassionate, he came to him through his mystical powers, gave a zoomed screen on the sky and told him, look at there, all these animals which you sacrificed are waiting for you to take revenge. It's not good. This is not recommended. So, you know that Srimad Bhagavatam does not recommend Karma Kanda section. It's always the process of bhakti. That is what is recommended in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Somehow, Prachinabari still wanted a very detailed explanation of all this allegorical story from Narada Muni. What are these characters? What are the aspects that represents the real life of the soul? So, that way Narada Muni could give him the entire details of the transmigration of the soul from one body to another body. How subtle body, that is the mind, is responsible for the cause of transmigration. You all know what is this allegorical story he gave. He talked about Puranjana. Very briefly I'll say, the hidden meaning or the moral is that Puranjana is the jiva, the living entity. The city is the material body. The 9 gates, Navadvarapuri, or the 9 holes in the human body. Avignata, he was mentioning, is the super soul or the supreme lord. Puranjani, the material intelligence, buddhi. Male friends of Puranjani are the 5 jnanendriyas and the 5 karmendriyas. There was another attachment, that extra friend, representing mind. Then the female friends of Puranjani represents the action of senses or the sense gratificatory desires. And the state in which the entire Puranjani traveled was the sense objects. So Narada Muni gave this detailed description and how it represents in real life. He also gave a very good description of the body, the chariot analogy. I'm sure everyone has heard this. Soul is represented of the person is represented by the person who is sitting in the chariot. Intelligence is compared to the driver of the chariot. The mind is compared to the reins or the ropes of the chariot, and the 5 horses or the 5 senses. So, after hearing this, Prachinabari got a little transformation. Okay, he said, wait, let me wait for the sons to come out. They are doing their tapas, then I shall retire and perform Bhakti Yoga. Then Narada Muni was forced to tell another real story. That story, he said, was the deer enjoying in the forest, and the other side there is a tiger and there's a hunter waiting here. What actually represents a tiger? It's a time factor, the deterioration. And the hunter is the Lord of Death. So that way he could give some detailed aspects of Bhakti Yoga. Then Prachinabari understood the teachings because Narada Muni is a pure devotee. But then he still had a question. Oh Narada Muni, why are you teaching me Bhakti Yoga? All my previous gurus taught me all Vedic rituals. Killing of animals was recommended. None of them taught me Bhakti Yoga. What do we understand from this? Who's the real teacher? Right? Anyone who's going to give us details or giving explanation of Bhakti Yoga is the real teacher. Right? So, then still Prachinabari had a question. Does all our activity have an effect in the next life also? What is the proof for this? He was asking. So Narada Muni again described the entire process of transmigration from one body to another material body, how Jiva leaves one gross body and moves to another gross body, and who is the carrier, the subtle body. It moves to another subtle body and then to the soul. So similarly, he called this all a dreamy situation, artificial imposition of the spirit soul. When you want real life, real bliss, only it's possible in the spiritual body. So when we wake up from a dream, what happens? We are generally happy, right? Thank God that miser, that whatever difficulty is not there. Similarly, when we awaken our Krishna consciousness or our original consciousness, and we revive our original consciousness as servants of Krishna, lover of Krishna, then we will not experience any material miseries. Okay, this way, Narada Muni gave a very detailed description that the mind is the cause for transmigration from one body to another. How we can get this spiritualized? How we can spiritualize the gross body and the subtle body? So by practice of Bhakti Yoga, the subtle body gets spiritualized. And the gross body, which more or less acts as a function of the desires of the subtle body, also gets spiritualized. Then the senses starts engaging in spiritual activities. Then it's just a matter of few years when we totally leave this material body and get a spiritual body, and then continuously engage in the devotional service. Okay, now we said this is possible, transformation or through Bhakti Yoga, all this is possible. What happens otherwise? Or what does happen in the normal general people who do not practice Bhakti Yoga and live a life which is not according to scriptures? What do people usually do? They just escape the miseries. It's like a person carrying a lot of weight on his shoulder. After a long walk, what does he feel? It's too much heavy. What do? Shift it to the other shoulder. Then he finds a huge relief. I am relieved. Actually, has the weight reduced? No, he's just shifted. So that way it could be head to shoulder, shoulder to this shoulder. There's no change in the reduction of the weight. So that's the way we are all approaching our material problems, the solutions we are approaching. Just shift the focus and then we think that we have resolved the problems. Ultimately, is there permanent relief? No, right? It is not there. So the only solution is when you put the actual weight down. So same way, the solution for all the material problems is the spiritual solution. Bhakti to Krishna, surrender to Krishna. The foremost way of developing affection to Krishna is by hearing from a bona fide guru, teacher, disciples who are in the parampara. By hearing the science of bhakti, we can develop jnana and vairagya. Some detachment and knowledge definitely is required. So this is what happened to Prachinabari. So he heard this elaborate description of transmigration of the soul, the teachings of the Bhakti Yoga. Then there is an inspiration. Then he said, I will retire from the active kingly life. So even before the sons could come back from their austerities, okay, which is what is given in the purport today. It says, Prachinavari perfects his life under the guidance of Narada Muni. He's guided so many kings, right? So many exalted devotees. So this completes a short explanation or a story about Prachinabari. Now what is happening in the third chapter, the entire canto? Parikshit Maharaj is going back and requesting Srila Sukadeva Goswami to elaborate more on one of the previously explained pastimes, which is the pastimes of Prachetas. This is from the fourth canto. So I move on to the next section where we discuss a little bit of about Prachetas. Who are Prachetas? Let's understand the lineage first. They all come from Swayambhava Manu. Uttanapada, King Uttanapada, the same very glorious kings were there. Dhruva Maharaj, Anga Maharaj, Veena, Prithu Maharaj, and then Prachinabari. And from then, it is Prachetas. So the Prachetas were 10 in number, sons of King Prachinabari, and the Prachetas' son was Daksha. Daksha went on to do austerities and fill the universe with many species of living entities. How did Daksha create? This is what Parikshit Maharaj wanted. He wanted to continue on the Visarga, the discussion on the secondary creation, how different species were created. That all will be discussed in various chapters coming forward. So, very one important thing, why are Prachetas glorious? Because they performed austerities for 10,000 years. Their Guru, Lord Shiva, was very happy. They saw that he wanted to please Vishnu, and Shiva gave the Rudra Gita. Very, very beautiful it is. The glories of the Supreme Lord and Supreme Form of the Lord. Sarva Saundarya Sangraham. Wonderful details are there in Rudra Gita. Actually it means that who brings all the beauty and put it, and that is the Supreme Lord Vishnu. Imagine standing in one leg inside the water for 10,000 years. So somehow Lord was very pleased, and then they appeared. Lord appeared in a wonderful, very beautiful form, 8-handed form. Right? Generally when we think of Vishnu, we remember it's a 4-handed palm. What are the four? Shankha, Chakra, Gada, Padma. Now this was an extra 4-handed form. So I heard that with that extra 4 hands, he had Bhana, Dhanush, the bow and arrow, and Kedaya and Asi, which is the shield and the sword. I also heard in some other lecture that it was Trishul and snake. I'm not too sure about that, but this form, if someone is interested to have darshan of this form, you'll have to just drive a few kilometers towards Tamil Nadu. There's a place called Kanchipuram. In that there is this wonderful temple called Ashtabhujam Perumal Kovil. He is showing this wonderful form, and the last almost 2-3 years I think it was closed. Then they did the Sampokshana, and if anyone wants to have this darshan, please have it there. They have another Utsava Vigraha, it's called Gajendra Vardhan, and it's also called Adikeshava Perumal. You must add it to your bucket list. It's wonderful to see there. Very ancient temple. Okay. So back to the words. So the Lord was lot of detailed explanation how beautiful the Lord was looking, wearing yellow garments, Kaustubha Mani, and this dazzling helmet, surrounded by sages, and then with Garuda going inside the water. Yes, you heard it right. It is Garuda Dev. How can bird fly inside the water? Garuda can. Not only Garuda, there is a lot of other associates of the Lord also entered the water. Demigods, so many other sages entered. So, what is the first thing which Lord said when he met Prachetas? Any guesses? He said, Bhagavanu Vacha Varnam Vridvam Bhadram Vo Yuyam Me Nripada Nandana Saudrena Pratak Dharmas Tushtoham Saudrena Va. Tushtoham. Lord said, I'm actually very happy. Why? Because you all have, I'm very impressed with their friendship. Let's just see the purport, what it says. The purport in this particular shloka, this is in 4th canto. Those who are actually engaged in the service So Vishnu was very impressed with one, the friendship which these people made, 10 of them, their loving relationship, and they were engaged in one occupation, which is devotional service, chanting of the Rudra Gita. So Lord said, I am very pleased with your mutual friendship. Then when Lord is pleased, what does he do? He says, I give you a benediction, I give you a vara, right? So here, Prabhujis and Matajis, it's very important for us to practice bhakti without any motivation, without any interruption. We all know that ahaituki apratihata, very diligently, very strictly, we need to perform. But it is also important for us to maintain very loving friendship, very cordial relationships with other devotees while practicing bhakti. You cannot say my bhakti is private affair. Yes, it is in a way personal. It is true that it is personal, but it is also very important to have very good relationship, very good connections with other devotees. Why is it so? Because my bhakti is totally dependent on all the Vaishnavas, right? I definitely need seek prayers, help from all the Vaishnavas, their guidance, so their association. Hence, Vaishnava Sangha should be very, very healthy and it should be in very good spirits. So Lord Vishnu was very happy, he glorified the friendship of Prachetas. So the Lord is again emphasizing the need of having good relationship among Vaishnavas. Only then Supreme Lord will be pleased, only then we can get benediction, vara, or we can continue our advancements in spiritual life very nicely. So he is pleased when devotees cooperate, right? It is never that I want to serve Lord. It's always we want to serve the Lord. We always use that word whenever we want to do any service. So the real unity is when devotees are together, when devotees are united for the purpose of rendering service. So there could be some ego. Sage Kandu said, I'm a sage. I cannot be doing grahastha job. So he also abandoned her. So this girl was being brought up in the forest. Who was taking care? Who is the king of forest? Soma, moon god. So he came, he took care of them. Actually, Soma also has got a very important role in our daily lives also. How is it? You know, what does Bhagavad Gita say? All the wonderful vegetables and fruits which we have, mango season, some fresh mangoes everybody must be enjoying, offering to the Lord. All the juice and the nectar which is in the vegetable or the fruit is provided by Soma. So moon god took care of her, okay, and Prachetas, and brought her up. So she was hungry, entire thing, he nourished that Marisha. So Lord asked them to marry her, and Lord also predicted that these people, Prachetas, would enjoy 1 million years and develop unadulterated bhakti and go back home, back to Godhead. So what was Prachetas asked as a benediction from the Supreme Lord? So, right, you know that he had given them the vara. So the Prachetas were, offering some wonderful prayers to the Supreme Lord. So Prachetas always, those days you can see from this, from the scriptures that everybody always first offered prayers, glorified the Supreme Lord. I'll just share one or two. They said that, Lord, you are the only one who can destroy the difficulties of a devotees. It's been proved that the Lord name and the qualities are very magnanimous. We cannot reach the Lord by mind and tongue. Through our senses, we cannot understand the Lord. It's beyond our sense perception. Only Krishna can reveal us when we engage our services in the Lord. What does it say? Seven mukhehi jigpado. First use your tongue. From there, glorify the Lord, chant the holy name. That way you can understand. Then Lord will reveal. Then he also said, you are completely pure and peaceful. Right? Whatever is presented, all the illusion presented by the material world, right? We will be able to understand if this is temporary only by you. Only when we take shelter of the holy name or shelter of the Lord. Then also they said in another prayer that you are in pure mode of goodness, Vishuddha Sattvam, right? What we have, mode of goodness, is always tinged with Rajasic and Tamasic, one, right? So he said, you are constantly stealing and planning how to steal our discomforts. So wonderful, right? Wonderful prayers like this. One last I'll try and mention. This is very important. He said, you have come in this beautiful form to us, right? Whenever we go and stand in front of the Archa Vigrahas, all our difficulties are vanquished. So they were saying every time we go and stand in front of the Archa Vigrahas, we need to go in a very prayerful mood, very meditative mood, so that he can swallow our distress. All the miseries can become mercy, right? Then of course they said, you're a super soul, but they wanted the benediction. So we'll see what it is. So they said, look, you are Ananta, you are transcendental, right? There is no end to your opulence. Since you are Ananta, we also want unlimited. So that is why it's important for the government. It cannot neglect, right? Important point is writing, Prabhupada writes, when government is negligent, less grains is produced. So we cannot blame the agriculturist. It's actually the government, the king, which is responsible, right? So before we go to the last section, conclude, I would like to just point another important. So the Prachetas and the Marisha, that is the daughter of Pramlochana and Kandu, got a son. He was Daksha. Actually, this is the second birth of Daksha. Daksha, he earlier, you all know that he offended Lord Shiva, he got a goat head. Now, after giving up that body, he was born as a son of Prachetas and Marisha. Right? This is his second birth. In a way, we can call it, if his previous birth was a Brahmana body, he got a slightly lower body, Kshatriya body. So, Brahmaji had instructed them, some say Brahma, Lord Soma, but Brahmaji also, I heard, is that came and said, no, you cannot burn the trees. So you get married, go rule your kingdom, and they ruled the kingdom in an exemplary manner. They became perfect in Krishna consciousness and later retired from business. They left Marisha in care of their son Daksha and went to the shore of the ocean, and they met Jalija Muni and started performing their devotional service. Now I come to the last section, conclusion. Yes, you've been hearing Prachina Bari retired, Prachetas retired. Don't worry, I'm not going to say everybody has to retire. We'll glorify Srimad Bhagavatam here. See how Srimad Bhagavatam glorifies. See, it glorified their austerities, their meeting with Vishnu, very much in detail, all I've explained. But when it comes to their personal life, political life, it's very brief, right? Very, very brief. Again, when they met Narada Muni, again in detail, devotional service and how they took the instructions from Narada Muni, that is again given. So the Prachetas anyway were glorious because they got to meet Shiva, they met in middle Vishnu, and then again they got the association of Narada Muni. So then Narada Muni, of course, glorified in many beautiful verses, devotional service, how all the rules and regulations are there only to invoke the devotional service onto Lord Vishnu or Hari. He gave us the famous tree analogy which Prabhupada quotes all the time. If you have to water the plant, the tree, you have to water the root of the tree. Because Krishna is the root of all existence. And he is the seed-giving father. We have seen that in Bhagavad Gita. If you worship Krishna, all of the devatas are satisfied. This aspect is very, very important. And another example which Srila Prabhupada always quotes, right? If you have to feed your feed your stomach, that way all other organs get the required nourishment. So we have to worship Lord Achyuta, Lord Hari at any point. We have to follow Bhakti Yoga. So that way Lord is pleased. And especially if devotees are working together with one cause, Supreme Lord is very, very pleased. So here with saying these few words, few points I could gather from this verse, with entirely help of my leader and so many other Vaishnavas, I would like to end the session here. I once again request you all to bless me so that I can continue these services, all the services which I do for my circle, and purely for the pleasure of the leaders, our Yatra leaders and then Guru. And kindly pardon me if I have made any mistakes in today's sessions. Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Patita Pavan Gurudev ki, Nitai Gaur Premanande. I would request all the Vaishnavas, many senior Vaishnavas are here, if you could add any points which may have missed.
Thank you very much for I'm taking your service today.
Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
So if you have any questions, doubts or comments, you can ask. Hare Krishna. Yeah. Any questions or comment? Yeah.
So Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you for giving the class. So you mentioned about that transmigration of the soul, and we hear every time that we are not this body, we are soul. But hearing is one thing, but realizing it is a different thing. So how one can realize that we are not this body, we are soul?
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you for asking this question. Yes, I definitely agree. Transmigration, we know that. We have heard it many times. How do we do this? How do we understand this and how do we realize it, right? Was your question. One is, we have practical examples every time we sit in a Bhagavatam class. That is why we need to always hear from a pure devotee, right? So, and most important, their realizations. Hear from them. If you see two births itself, we know that one has a very glorious birth and another person probably on day one, he's got, Hare Krishna. Somebody hold this, it should not. So, they have a glorious birth and some may. What has the child done on day one? That's what I heard in one of the, not in our parampara, another guru called and said, you go back and check how many births have happened in today's, give me all the child which was born on today and the same very time. Then he asked each devotee to come and tell me what is the background of each child. So he asked, if the child is from day zero, what have they done in their, for them to get this kind of different status. So that is probably one way of understanding, hearing, realizations. And again I would come back with the association of devotees. Hearing from pure devotees, always associate with pure devotees. And then I always follow this. Sometimes when you don't understand, I just definitely pray for the Lord, saying that I am reading this section, I am not understanding. Kindly reveal to me how I can, understand this better. Okay, because Lord promises, Dadami Bhukti Yogam. So He says, I will ensure you will learn from this. This is my way of understanding. If it helped you, please let me know. Otherwise, there are many senior Vaishnavas whom we can ask. Thank you, Prabhu. Any other thoughts, any other questions?
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much for wonderful class, VRAJANATH Prabhu.
All glories to Him.
So the initial, when class started, initial discussion, you mentioned that the animal sacrifice, is a sin. The king accumulated sin, then the animals also, they were waiting to
I think we're in a very bhajan mood, Prabhuji, so we'll have to wait. Yes, Prabhuji, we can go ahead. You ask. Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu. Thank you very much. Prabhuji's question was in the initial part of the lecture, the class. There was animal sacrifice was condemned. It was not recommended, is what the comment was made. And how do we understand that? Yes, Prabhu. Pure devotees, exalted devotees had the power. Brahmanas, the pure Brahmanas had the power to, once if they sacrifice the animal, they could give, they could probably give their life back. And it was, when I mentioned this, firstly Narada Muni said this, so I am just repeating the same. And Prachina Bari was constantly doing that. I mean, every yagna after yagna. That way he was, what does the entire, in 15th chapter Lord says, right? Vedashta sarve ahame vedyo. If you, what you need to understand from all this Vedas is to understand me and please me. So if one is caught in this Karma Kanda section only, from that aspect I mentioned that Narada Muni had to come and tell him to follow Bhakti Yoga rather, because Karma Kanda section and other jnana is not highly recommended and Bhakti Yoga is glorified more. From that point I mentioned this, Prabhuji. Hopefully I was correct and you understood what I meant. Thank you, Prabhu. So yes, this was Prabhuji's. Thank you, Prabhuji, for giving me the hint. Mass killing was not recommended. Constantly offering, making this as a duty. Too many animals being killed just in the name of sacrifice. That was not recommended, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhuji. Where is Shamkund, Prabhu? Definitely needed to do kirtan, so I think.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for your wonderful class. You quoted many names in Srimad Bhagavatam from 4th canto to 6th canto, and all difficult names to remember. And this idea of analogy from this Pracheta's pastimes, especially this different way of approaching. It's not about a difference of opinion among the devotees. It's a very nice point. Thank you very much for your this Seva Prabhu. So, for you have any questions from Mataji side? That's it. Last. By thanking him, we can chant Hare Krishna one time. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Shri Gandharvika Giridhari Sriman Mahaprabhu ki jai. This is my service. I love doing this. Okay, so back to again a very warm welcome to everybody. Sunday feast. Yesterday we had Ekadashi. What is important the coming week? Something very nice. Akshaya Tritiya. I think it's on the 10th. So this month itself is glorious because we have Rukmini Dvadashi on 20th, right? And 22nd, what is there? Yes. So we had our temple's Brahmotsara also. So there's some lovely information which is going to come in to you, all of you, in the coming weeks. So stay tuned, be attentive for all your SMSs, and please plan at least 2-3 days. You need to plan your work accordingly so that we can come and participate in the Brahmotsava. And I think this is the 12th year, so this Brahmotsava is going to be a little more special. Okay, so who's cooking? I forgot. Advaita Circle is cooking. So can we, and there are a lot of other services. Radha Gopinath Circle is serving, many other circles are all going to do some sevas. So can we all chant for Advaita Circle and other circle leaders so that they are constantly seeing how we can engage all our devotees in the service of the Supreme Lord, engaging in devotional service. Can we chant Hare Krishna 3 times? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Last time, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we always... Yes. Yes. Okay. Okay. I'm just being told that there's a very important message. Please hear this attentively. Respected Maharaj, Prabhujis and Matajis, Jayom Nitya Leela Pravishta Paramahamsa Parivrajikacharya Ashtottara Satashri Srimad Shri Gopal Krishna Maharaj Ki Jai. Our hearts are broken but reconciled to Krishna's plan. We seek to announce the unfortunate departure of Srila Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj at 9:20 a.m. on 5th of May, that is today. And this auspicious entry into the eternal pastimes of Sri Sri Radha, Parthasarathi, Sri Sri Gaurunitai, Sri Sri Sitaram, Lakshman Hanuman and Sri Sri Lakshmi Narsingha. Gurudev will travel to Delhi and then Sri Dhawan Dham. We'll send you some more details later. Please do not rush to Dehradun. Your servants, Sri Gopal Krishna Goswami Shishya Samuha. So from the camp, Synergy Institute of Medical Sciences, Dehradun. We were just talking of Gopal Krishna Maharaj in the class too. Definitely we all need to chant extra rounds, be mindful of the day and see that somehow, because Guru Maharaj has also requested that we do some extra rounds today. So, of course for devotees it's sad, but they, like the note said, he's continuing his Nitya Leela, right? Thank you very much. We move on to a very devotional song. Who's the singer today? Who's coming in to sing Gopi Geet? Gopi Geet? Prashant Prabhu is not there. Anybody's here to sing the Gopi Geet? Come. Come, Mataji. Okay. So very nice. Radha just informed me that we all can stay back. There's a wonderful song whenever a Vaishnava departs this material world. So we all stay back to sing Jayanilo Premadana. Okay? So please don't rush. First is Gopi Geet, am I right, Radha? First is Gopi Geet and then we'll sing the song. Kirtaniyas, if you can just come help the Mataji singing the Mataji.